Hello, babes. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite movies, which is Just Right, and how absolutely wrong this whole thing was. So let's get into it. Now, I don't know if many of you are like me, where you watched a movie that you absolutely loved, and as an adult, you watch it and you're like, this is just not it. So, I wanted to discuss the movie Just Right, as I've stated before. I won't be breaking down the entire film, but I will be talking about Leslie and Scott, played by the bull-headed demon himself, Common, and one of my forever faves, Queen Latifah. This movie is often framed as some sort of fairy tale love story, but in my opinion, it is absolutely not. So, for those of you who haven't seen it, Leslie is a physical therapist and a huge basketball fan. She's beautiful, but she doesn't fit the typical beauty standard. She's not a size 2, she isn't hyper feminine, and she loves sports. And as someone who personally loves all the girly, frilly things, I absolutely hate how there always seems to be this divide where women are put into boxes based on their interests. Like in basketball, dressing casually and having a more extroverted personality does not make you less of a woman and somehow a tomboy or a man, which is something that I absolutely hate, that people will label a woman is a man simply because she likes things that are stereotypical of what a man likes, as though you can't have multiple interests as a woman. And there are women who love sports who are girly. Women are not a monolith. Anyway, Leslie doesn't have much luck in love, even though she's clearly a catch. She's loyal, warm, kind, and beautiful, as I stated before. However, the men she dates often friend zone her because she's considered the cool home girl, and she isn't what they would consider to be this it girl and someone that they can bring home or have a serious relationship with because they want more of a trophy. What I love most about Leslie, though, is that she never puts other women down or others herself just because she's different and has different interests. She doesn't build her identity on being not like other women. She just simply exists as herself, which is something that I loved about this movie because they didn't make her a pick-me who looked down on her cousin and always talked down upon women who happened to be more girly. She had no issue even hanging out with Morgan and her friends because she didn't see them as a threat or was in competition with them. She was herself naturally, and she had no issue being friends with girls who were hyper feminine, which is something that a lot of women can learn from because oftentimes women just automatically make another woman her competition and try to fight for the attention of men. Leslie was not doing that. Leslie was like, listen, you love me for me. If you don't like me, then you're not for me. It's as simple as that. The only thing she did tell her cousin is, girl, you need to get a job and get off your behind and stop expecting people to hand out things to you because that is not how life works. And she was honest with her cousin because it's the truth. Leslie meets Scott McKnight, who plays on her favorite team, the Nets, at a gas station. He clearly has no idea how to pump gas in the car he has, more than likely because he's always being driven around and doesn't get a chance to really drive his own cars that much. Much like a lot of players and celebrities who aren't really home as much, even though they have these big fancy homes. They make small talk and he invites her to a party.
You got plans Saturday night?
Now enter Leslie's cousin, Morgan, the complete opposite of her. Morgan is hyper feminine and wants to be taken care of. And listen, you ladies know where I stand on this. I grew up in a traditional household. My father would lose it if I ever dated a man who didn't have his life together and didn't make sure that I was taken care of. And people like to argue and debate about finances, and money doesn't mean anything, and money absolutely means everything, especially when it comes to homes, buying properties, and just you need money to survive. The Bible says a man who does not work does not eat. Okay. However, I was also taught to go to school, make my own money, and achieve my goals because you need something that is your own and to rely on yourself because you are an adult and no one can take that away from you. Morgan does none of that. She's lazy, she can't keep a job, and is just waiting for someone to come save her. She genuinely believes she's owed something simply for being beautiful, and that's the only thing she has to offer. So when Leslie tells her about the party, of course Morgan is ecstatic because she wants to bag a baller.
You won't be at this house. Is this? Yes. Party. What?
They go together, and Leslie and Scott clearly have chemistry, real, genuine chemistry, not just the friendly kind.
You look great.
Thank you. So do you.
Appreciate it.
But Miss Morgan pretends she wants to leave even though she doesn't, and acts like she doesn't know who Scott is because she wants him to chase her, and it makes her more interesting if she pretends as though she doesn't know who he is.
How can I get in touch with you?
Oh, Scott. It's Scott, right? I'm sorry. I tried the whole dating a ball player thing, and it's not for me. But it's really nice talking to you.
And her pretending as if she doesn't know who he is and has no interest, of course, pulls him in. And suddenly, the focus shifts. Now, let's talk about Leslie because she deserved so much better. Leslie was there for everyone, yet the only person truly in her corner was her father. Her mother treated Morgan better than her own daughter because Leslie didn't fit the image she had in her head. Leslie loved sports. She wasn't super feminine, and that made her a disappointment in her mother's eyes. It reminded me so much of Monica's relationship with her mother in Love and Basketball, another woman who was treated as weird simply because she didn't want the same things her mother wanted. And yes, I'll be doing a Monica deep dive soon. But let's be clear, one thing's for certain, Leslie was fine, okay? Queen Latifah has always been beautiful to me. Her hair has always been laid, and she just has always been the it girl in my opinion. I just love Queen Latifah. She has this charm and beauty. Miss Queen Latifah, okay, she always had it. Aside from her raggedy family, except her dad, though he definitely could have done more to protect her from her mother's constant judging and making Leslie feel less than. Leslie deserved more than Scott because of who she was at her core. She was caring and kind, but she wasn't a doormat, especially when it came to men. She's written as the cool plus-sized girl who gets friend-zoned. They never say it outright because they're not going to, but the messaging is definitely clear within the movie. What made Leslie powerful is that she never put on a facade to get a man. She didn't pretend to be something that she wasn't. That right there showed real confidence. And I think a lot of women miss this point that yes, when you're getting to know someone, you don't reveal everything at once. But what you should never do is fake who you are just to quote unquote get a man. The act gets exhausting, and eventually you either can't keep it up, or worse, you lose yourself because you've been pretending to be someone else for so long that you forgot who you were. When Leslie first met Scott, the chemistry was immediate and Scott felt it too. But then Morgan shows up and he's attracted to her. And look, Morgan is beautiful. But when you actually watch their relationship unfold, in my opinion, there is zero chemistry. She's the perfect trophy wife, and that's it. There's really not much else. We also have the legendary Pam Grier playing Leslie's mother, which I've already stated how she treats Leslie. She openly dotes on Morgan because Morgan is the daughter she always wanted. What pissed me off is that she even gives Morgan her own mother's earrings instead of Leslie. And I can only imagine how that kind of treatment shaped Leslie growing up, watching her mother dote on other women and her cousin except for her.
They are more than beautiful. These are better than a full moon. You wear these, and men will be falling at your feet. Now, Leslie, I know that you don't like this flashy style, but I do want one of you to wear these tonight.
Me? Really?
To have a parent showcasing how much they love your cousin and always feeling the need to disparage you or make you feel as though you matter less had to be difficult for Leslie.
How are you going to get a man dressed like that? My mom goes to the game. And,
Not saying that her mother didn't love her, but it's like she wanted to live through Morgan. First, it was Leslie, but because Leslie wasn't who she wanted her to be, she projected it onto Morgan. Like a lot of parents do, because they wish they could do things differently, and they look at their children as do-overs. Now, let's get to the ending, because this is where my issue really lies. Morgan leaves Scott after his injury. Okay, that's her choice. You want to leave him? Fine. Because she feels like Scott is not going to be bringing any more money. Scott has an injury and there's no way that he will be better. This is how Morgan sees it. Leslie is the one who nurses him through his depression and helps bring him back to life. They form a genuine bond. But the moment Morgan sees he's healed and can return to basketball, here she comes strutting back into the picture. Knock, knock, knock on the door. I'm so sorry.
I am so sorry I left you that note, but I didn't know what to do. I was so confused. My mom died when I was 3. My dad left the day after my 5th birthday,
And Scott immediately accepts her flimsy excuse and drops Leslie without hesitation. Didn't say I'm sorry, no nothing. He just let Leslie leave off like, excuse me? She was the one who wouldn't allow him to mope, to actually push him if he wanted to continue playing basketball again. And it was a favor to her insecure cousin who was engaged to him and thought the other physical therapist would somehow steal Scott away from her, and she saw her money back walking out the door. What I did love is that Leslie cut him off the second she saw him go back to Morgan.
Leslie, the last thing I ever wanted to do was hurt you. You were so special to me.
I know I'm special to you, Scott. A very special friend.
You are.
Well, that's not enough for me.
But what the movie failed to do was fully show the power of a woman knowing her worth. Scott didn't really have to fight for her. He just gave a speech, and we all know words only mean but so much. Leslie was on the verge of propelling her career because of her work with Scott, but of course, the movie had to show a woman giving something up for a man. We rarely see that sacrifice go the other way. Leslie deserved someone who loved her out loud and unapologetically. Honestly, I don't think that relationship would have lasted. Scott only wanted Leslie after she walked away. Her walking away showed that she knew her worth, and even though she loved him, she loved herself more. And sometimes men's ego can't take the fact that a woman is walking away from him. These movies, especially ones written by men, often push the idea that women should accept any behavior as long as a man eventually says, I'm sorry, I'll change, I'll do better. Okay, no. I will say this too. Leslie should not have dated a man her cousin was engaged to, because it showed his lack of loyalty. Granted, okay, it's a movie and things happen. Morgan left him. However, that was still her cousin. Even though Leslie met Scott first and Morgan's feelings weren't genuine, it was still messy and crossed the line. That's why, to me, the perfect ending would have been Leslie telling Scott off and walking away for good. Because sometimes you don't get what you want. And just because someone accepts your apology doesn't mean they have to accept you back. It just means they've chosen peace over resentment, and that they're making room for the blessing that comes when you finally let someone go. Some of these films are just constant programming of women. It's always a woman giving up something or being labeled selfish if she finally wants to put herself first. She always ends up back with the guy who wronged her, and they magically live happily ever after, when that's not reality. Oftentimes, after a few months, that man goes right back to his same behavior, and he only did those things to get you back, and then once he's got you back, he goes back to his old habits. And so many women fall for it in real life and think that their relationships, and in their relationships, that will actually happen. They will have their happy ending with a guy who did them wrong. And Scott, yes, he was in love with Morgan, and that may be different. However, these things that happen when somebody goes back to an ex or decides to do you wrong, and then they come back after they realized, oh wait, I let a good one go, and the person that I thought was good is actually no good for me. It definitely takes a toll on women. I think the whole spinning the block thing, just almost 90% of the time, never works. We need to start showing the actual reality of what happens in these relationships. So with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure your notification bells are turned on so that you always know when I upload. And I'll catch you guys in the next one.